Hi, Dr. Tim Garcia here, and today we're talking about autism and what you can do about it. So what is autism? It's characterized as a spectrum of brain development disorder. It can be mild or severe. It affects social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, repetitive behaviors, gastrointestinal disorders. This is from Autism Speaks. Did you know autism now affects 1 in 88 children and 1 in 54 boys? Autism prevalence figures are growing. More children will be diagnosed with autism this year than with AIDS, diabetes, and cancer combined. Autism is the fastest growing serious developmental disability in the U.S. Autism costs the nation $137 billion per year. Autism receives less than 5% of research funding of many less prevalent childhood diseases. Boys are 4 times more likely than girls to have autism. There's no medical detection or cure for autism. This is from the Daily Bell. The latest elite meme, autism caused by high fructose corn syrup. This is April 13th, 2012. By staff writer Tom Hartman. Says a new study suggests that food we eat might be responsible for the increase in autism and more. On the heels of a report by the Centers of Disease Control showing a drastic 78% increase in cases of autism in America since 2002, a new study suggests that the food we eat might be responsible. The peer-reviewed journal Clinical Epigenetic links increased autism cases to the widespread use of high fructose corn syrup in the American diet. As the study co-author Dr. David Walling said, to better address the explosion of autism, it's critical we consider how unhealthy diets interfere with the body's ability to eliminate toxic chemicals and ultimately our risk for developing long-term health problems like autism. Toxins do play a role. The Environmental Working Group examined the umbilical cord blood of children just as they emerged from the womb. They found 287 industrial chemicals, including pesticides, phthalates, dioxins, flame retardants, Teflon, and toxic metals like mercury. And this was before these infants even entered the world. Autoimmune epidemic. So did you know half of the body's nerve cells are located in the gut, in the intestines? Half. And remember, the nerves are an extension of the brain. There's a connection between the state of your gut, how healthy your gut is, and the functioning of your brain. New research shows normal gut flora is crucial when treating autism. And here I must reference Gut and Psychology Syndrome, GAPS for short, by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. Please look at it, look for it. GAPS. So we must detoxify our gut. So, how do we do it? Well, a proper diet is essential. No processed food, decreased sugar, less chemicals, less additives, preservatives. Also here I will refer you to the GAPS book, Gut and Psychology Syndrome by Dr. Campbell McBride. Supplementation is crucial. Supplementation to make sure we're getting the right nutrients and the right state of our internal, our gut and our intestines is very important. So what supplements should we use? We'll get into that. But we want ones that are readily absorbed. And so we talk about isotonics. And this lecture from now on was prepared by Dr. Mark Lang, PhD. So overview of the gastrointestinal system, or digestive system, how we transport nutrients into cells, and the isotonic delivery system follows. Here is a picture of our gastrointestinal system. Starts with our mouth, then we have our esophagus, goes into our stomach, and from there into the intestines. And of course we have our salivary glands, etc., etc. Intestines then goes down into the colon, and of course we eliminate from there. So what we eat is very important about our health and also autism. This is a depiction of where the food goes into our stomach. It churns up in the stomach. It gets the food into smaller components, and this is where we start. So the stomach secretes 5 substances mainly: water, which dilutes. We have chloride ions in the stomach. We have hydrogen ions. Pepsin, which is an enzyme, a proteolytic enzyme, breaks down proteins. Then we have an intrinsic factor, vitamin B12 binding protein, released by parietal cells in the stomach. This is a detail of the stomach. You see the esophagus entering the stomach, and you see the different layers of the muscle in the stomach and the mucosa, which is the inside of the stomach. And when it leaves the stomach, it goes into the duodenum. That is the intestine, the upper part of the small intestine. And here is a cross-section of a cadaver stomach, and it shows the irregularity in the inside of the stomach where it churns the food and breaks it down. When we talk about isotonic supplementation, we have an advantage number 1. Nutrients aren't exposed to acidic environment of the stomach where they would otherwise degrade, so you don't waste your money. Isotonic advantage number 2 is a reduced delivery time. An example would be B vitamins for energy, so it takes minutes to uptake, not hours. So the small intestine, what does it do? Well, acidic food solution stimulates the pancreas to release numerous digestive enzymes in a sodium bicarbonate solution, which will neutralize the acid food solution, and it changes from acidic to nearly neutral. The small intestine also has bile. Bile is a product of the liver, collected in the gallbladder and then secreted into the food solution in the duodenum. It contains surfactants that disperse fat. Lipases act on triglycerides, releasing fatty acids, also in the small intestine. Here we have a picture of the pancreas, the pancreatic duct that releases the enzymes into the duodenum. You see the duct and then duodenum. Here's the liver. The liver has the gallbladder on the back side of it where the bile is collected and then secreted into the small intestine. And this is a picture of the mucosa of the small intestine. So isotonic advantage number 3, carbon dioxide created by effervescent reaction reduces the thickness and viscosity of the mucus layer of the intestinal tract, promoting absorption into cells. Now here is a picture of the folds in the small intestine. It has a lot of folds, and these folds have little finger projections called villi. It increases the surface area so that you have better absorption of nutrients into the intestine and well into your bloodstream through the cells. This is a depiction, a diagram of the small intestine, and here's an actual photo. You see the folds, and along these folds are the little villi, finger-like projections that help to increase the surface area to absorb nutrients. The cell membrane has a bilipid layer. As you can see on this is one layer of fat, this is another layer of fat. This is the cell membrane, and this is the inside of the cell. This is an electron micrograph showing the bilipid membrane, cell membrane. Lipid, as you recall, is fat. So these are fat. It's a bilayer of fat molecules that make up the membrane. So remember, the nutrients have to get into the cells and pass the membrane. So there's cell membrane barriers. The lipid bilayers are impermeable to most essential molecules and ions. Oxygen, water, and carbon dioxide can freely pass. Many nutrients cannot freely pass into the cell through the cell membrane. So movement through differences in concentration, that's diffusion. It's moving molecules from a region of higher concentration into a region of lower concentration. And this is simple diffusion. This is a picture of the food coloring in the water from a higher concentration of the blue part going into the clear part of the water. It's diffusing from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. And same with nutrients. Higher concentration move nutrients into cells.